What if the only way to save your kingdom was to marry the one person you've sworn to destroy? 2 princes. One impossible vow. And a secret marriage that could either forge peace or ignite the flames of war. Welcome to a world where frost meets fire, and enemies become something far more dangerous. Subscribe to my channel for more juicy tropes like this every week. For 100 years, the Frost Kingdom and the Sun Realm have been locked in a brutal war. Rivers ran red with blood. Entire villages vanished beneath ice and flame. Families torn apart. Children raised on hatred. And at the center of it all, 2 boys who would grow into legends, or nightmares, depending on which side of the border you called home. Prince Kaelen of the Frost Kingdom. Born beneath the aurora's cold light, his eyes the color of winter storms. They say his heart is carved from the same ice that shields his realm. Silent. Calculating. Deadly with a blade. He learned to hate before he learned to love, because in the Frost Kingdom, love is a luxury they could never afford. And then there's Prince Valerius of the Sun Realm. Golden hair that catches fire in the light. A smile that could charm armies into surrender. But beneath that warmth lies something fierce, something that burns hotter than any forge. He was taught that the Frost Kingdom stole the sun from their land centuries ago, that every winter's chill is a curse from the north. And he was taught that Prince Kaelen is the embodiment of that curse. They first met when they were 12 years old. A peace summit that ended in disaster. Kaelen called Valerius a spoiled prince playing at war. Valerius called Kaelen a cold-blooded monster. They nearly drew swords on each other in front of their fathers, the kings. The summit collapsed. The war raged on for another decade. But wars end. Not always with victory. Sometimes with exhaustion. When both kingdoms stand on the brink of total collapse, when there are no more soldiers to send and no more gold to fund the fighting, the courts make a desperate decision. A political marriage. An alliance sealed in blood and vows. The problem? The people would never accept it. The hatred runs too deep. So the marriage must be secret. Hidden from the world until the kingdoms can be slowly, carefully turned toward peace. And the grooms? Prince Kaelen and Prince Valerius. The same 2 rivals who have spent their entire lives learning to hate each other. The decree arrives on the same winter morning in both kingdoms. Kaelen reads it in his tower, surrounded by ancient ice that never melts. His hands don't shake. His face reveals nothing. But inside, something cracks. Marriage to his enemy. A prisoner in a game of politics he never agreed to play. Valerius reads it in his solar, golden light streaming through stained glass. He throws the parchment into the fire and watches it burn. Then he retrieves it, barely singed, because magic protects royal decrees. Even destruction can't save him from this fate. Neither prince has a choice. Duty. Honor. The weight of crowns not yet worn but already crushing them. The wedding takes place in neutral territory. An ancient temple built half of ice, half of golden stone, standing at the exact border between their kingdoms. Only a handful of witnesses. The high priestess who performs the ceremony. The kings. A few trusted advisors sworn to absolute secrecy. Kaelen arrives in frost-white armor, his expression a frozen mask. Valerius wears crimson and gold, defiance burning in his eyes. They stand before the altar, refusing to look at each other. The vows taste like poison on their tongues. When the priestess tells them to join hands, their touch is a shock of ice and fire. Neither pulls away, though both want to. Pride won't allow it. The kiss that seals their union lasts exactly 3 seconds. Kaelen's lips are cold. Valerius's are warm. It feels like a battle, not a beginning. And then it's done. They're married. Bound by law and magic and political necessity. Husband and husband. In secret. The arrangement is simple. They'll live together in a private estate between the kingdoms. They'll maintain the appearance of the marriage to a select few who must know. But beyond that? Nothing is required. No love. No affection. Just coexistence until their kingdoms are ready for the truth. The estate is magnificent. Built into a cliffside where winter meets summer in an eternal dance. One half covered in perpetual snow and ice. The other blooming with endless gardens and sunshine. A perfect metaphor for their impossible union. They establish rules immediately. Kaelen takes the north wing. Valerius takes the south. They'll meet for meals, for appearances, but otherwise stay separate. Don't speak unless necessary. Don't touch unless someone's watching. And absolutely, under no circumstances, acknowledge that this marriage is anything more than a political transaction. Simple. Clean. Survivable. Except nothing about this is simple. The first crack appears during a diplomatic dinner 3 weeks into the marriage. An ambassador from a neighboring kingdom arrives unexpectedly, someone who must believe the marriage is real. Kaelen and Valerius sit beside each other, playing their parts. They smile. They make polite conversation. And when the ambassador comments on how distant they seem for newlyweds, Valerius does something that shocks them both. He reaches over and takes Kaelen's hand. His touch is warm, gentle, nothing like their wedding day. Kaelen doesn't pull away. Instead, he intertwines their fingers and looks at Valerius with something that almost resembles tenderness. It's all an act. It has to be. But for a moment, just a heartbeat, something real flickers between them. The ambassador leaves satisfied. Kaelen and Valerius release each other immediately, returning to their cold politeness. But the warmth of that touch lingers. A ghost neither can quite shake. The second crack comes during a winter storm that batters the estate. The magical barrier between summer and winter falters, and suddenly Valerius's wing is plunged into freezing darkness. He's a creature of sun and warmth. The cold is his enemy, his nightmare. He endures it for hours, too proud to ask for help, too stubborn to admit weakness. Kaelen finds him near dawn, shivering in his chambers, trying to light a fire that won't catch. For a moment, Kaelen considers leaving. This isn't his problem. They're not really married, not in any way that matters. But he stays. He uses his frost magic to seal the broken barrier. Then he does something unexpected. He wraps Valerius in furs from his own chambers and sits beside him until the warmth returns. They don't speak. They don't need to. But when Valerius finally falls asleep, exhausted and safe, his head tips onto Kaelen's shoulder. And Kaelen doesn't move away. The cracks become fractures. They start talking during meals. Not about politics or duty, but about small things. Kaelen mentions a book he's reading. Valerius talks about the garden he's trying to grow in the southern courtyard. They discover they both hate morning meetings with advisors. They both miss their younger siblings. They both feel the crushing weight of being the heir, the one who must be perfect. They're more alike than either wants to admit. One evening, Valerius walks past the training yard and finds Kaelen practicing with his sword. The technique is flawless, deadly, beautiful in its precision. Valerius has always been good with a blade, but watching Kaelen is like watching ice dance. Before he can stop himself, he asks if Kaelen would spar with him. Kaelen agrees. They fight like they're trying to kill each other, because that's all they know how to do together. Blades clash. Ice and fire magic spark in the air around them. It's aggressive, intense, brutal. But somewhere in the middle of it, something shifts. The fight becomes a conversation. An understanding written in steel and movement. They're testing each other, yes, but also learning. respecting. When they finally stop, both are breathing hard, covered in sweat, alive in a way they haven't felt in years. Valerius laughs, surprised by his own joy. Kaelen smiles, a real smile that transforms his entire face. It's terrifying how good that feels. The fractures become something neither can name. Late one night, Kaelen finds Valerius on the terrace that bridges their two worlds, standing in the snow while summer stars shine above. Valerius confesses that he's afraid. Afraid the peace won't hold. Afraid their sacrifice will mean nothing. Afraid he's not strong enough for what's coming. Kaelen stands beside him in silence. Then he says something he's never said to anyone. He's afraid too. Afraid of failing his kingdom. Afraid of the expectations. Afraid that the cold he uses as armor has frozen something vital inside him. Valerius looks at him then, really looks at him, and sees not an enemy but a person. Someone as trapped and scared and desperate as he is. Without thinking, Valerius reaches out and takes Kaelen's hand. Not for show this time. Not for diplomacy. Just because he needs the connection. Because in this moment, Kaelen is the only person in the world who understands. Kaelen's fingers tighten around his. Ice and fire. Enemies and allies. And something more, something dangerous blooming between them. They start spending more time together. Kaelen shows Valerius the ice caves beneath the estate, crystalline caverns that glow with ethereal light. Valerius takes Kaelen to the summer gardens and teaches him the names of flowers that only bloom in warmth. They read in the library together, books piled between them, occasionally reading passages aloud. They share meals that stretch for hours, conversation flowing like wine. And slowly, terrifyingly, inevitably, hatred transforms into something else. The first kiss, the real first kiss, happens during an argument. They're fighting about something trivial, some small disagreement that escalates. Valerius is angry, gesturing wildly. Kaelen is cold, his words cutting. And then suddenly Valerius is in Kaelen's space, eyes blazing, and he says something that hits too close to truth. Kaelen kisses him to shut him up. At least, that's what he tells himself. But the moment their lips meet, the lie shatters. This isn't about anger. This is about the tension that's been building between them for months. The way they can't stop looking at each other. The way every accidental touch feels electric. The way they've been circling each other like planets caught in gravity, unable to break free. Valerius kisses back like he's been waiting for this. Like he's been drowning and Kaelen is air. When they break apart, both are shaking. They should step back. They should pretend it never happened. They should remember their enemies forced into a political arrangement, nothing more. Instead, Kaelen pulls Valerius back and kisses him again. Deeper this time. Desperate. Real. What happens next changes everything. They stop pretending. They stop denying. Behind closed doors, away from the world, they become something neither expected. Lovers. Partners. Two people who understand each other's darkness and choose each other anyway. Kaelen discovers that beneath Valerius's golden charm is a fierce intelligence and a capacity for kindness that takes his breath away. Valerius learns that Kaelen's coldness is protection, that underneath is someone capable of profound loyalty and unexpected gentleness. They're still rivals in many ways. They still argue and challenge each other. But now those fights end in laughter, in kisses, in tangled sheets and whispered confessions. For the first time in their lives, they're happy. But happiness, as always, comes with a price. 6 months into their marriage, word begins to leak. Rumors spread through both kingdoms. People are asking questions. The secret can't hold much longer. And when the truth comes out, there will be consequences. Riots. Possible rebellion. Those who oppose peace will use this marriage as proof of betrayal. Kaelen and Valerius know they're running out of time. They have to make a choice. Annul the marriage, return to their kingdoms separately, and let the war eventually resume. Or stand together, reveal the truth, and fight for a future that most people aren't ready to accept. The decision comes during a private moment in their shared chambers. Valerius looks at Kaelen and asks what he wants. Not as a prince. Not for his kingdom. Just for himself. Kaelen's answer is simple. He wants this. Them. Whatever future they can build together, even if it's dangerous, even if it's hard. Valerius takes his hand. Ice and fire. No longer enemies. No longer just allies. Partners in every sense of the word. They make their announcement together. Standing at the border between their kingdoms, they reveal their marriage to the world. Some cheer. Many rage. But Kaelen and Valerius face it united, their hands joined, their resolve unshakable. The road ahead won't be easy. Peace never is. But they have something their fathers never did. They have each other. And that might just be enough. Two princes who were supposed to be enemies. A marriage that was supposed to be political convenience. But somewhere between duty and desire, between frost and fire, they found something real. Something worth fighting for. Love doesn't care about kingdoms or crowns or centuries of hatred. Love just is. And sometimes, the person you're supposed to hate is exactly the person you need most. Enemy hearts can become one. All it takes is courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to choose love over everything else. Because in the end, that's the only choice that matters.
Hit the subscribe button for more enchanting tales every week. Don't forget to keep the magic alive.